All right, so today we're going to dive into some pretty cool stuff. Um, AI coding assistants.
Yeah.
You know how sometimes you're working on a project
Mm-hmm.
and it just feels like you're spending way more time trying to find the right piece of code
Oh, yeah.
than you are actually writing new code?
Totally.
Well, imagine if you had like a super-powered search engine for your whole code base.
Right.
That's what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah. It's not even just like the searching part that's so fascinating to me. It's like we're talking about AI that can like actually understand your code.
Yeah.
It's like if you had a colleague
Right.
who like had the whole project memorized
Mhm.
and could answer your questions about it, but in plain English.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where Cody comes in.
Right.
It uses some really smart AI techniques
Yeah.
like embeddings and chunking to analyze your code
Yeah.
and build this knowledge base that's constantly learning.
It's really cool. I mean, think about it this way. Instead of just like matching keywords, which is what we're used to with search,
Yeah.
Cody breaks down your code into meaningful chunks and figures out how all of those pieces relate to each other.
Okay.
So you can ask it super complex questions.
Right.
Like you could say something like, where is the logic that handles failed payments?
Mm-hmm.
And it'll actually understand what you mean.
Right. And instead of having to go through like a million search results,
Right.
trying to parse through everything.
Yeah, a million files.
Exactly. It pinpoints exactly what you need.
Right to the line.
So that's got to be way more useful than a simple search.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
So what else makes Cody stand out? What are like some of its superpowers?
Well, one thing I think is really neat is that it's constantly monitoring your files in real time.
Interesting.
Every time you make a change, Cody updates its knowledge base.
Right.
So you're always working with the most up-to-date information.
That makes a lot of sense, especially if you're working on like a project that's always evolving.
Right.
You don't want your AI assistant falling behind.
Exactly. Yeah, you want it to keep up with you, for sure.
And is it pretty customizable?
Yeah, that's another key feature, I think, is that you can really make Cody your own. You can tell it which files or directories to ignore.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like wasting time analyzing stuff that's not really relevant to your project.
Right, if you have like a huge library of downloaded code or something.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't want Cody to get bogged down with all that. You want to keep it focused on the stuff that matters.
Right.
And then there's the interactive Q&A element.
Okay.
Like you can actually have a conversation with Cody.
Oh, wow.
You ask it questions and you get like really detailed answers based on its understanding of your code.
So this is way beyond just finding a needle in a haystack, right? It's like having this dedicated coding buddy that just knows your project inside and out.
Exactly. And that buddy is always available and never gets tired of answering your questions.
Never gets tired of your dumb questions.
No matter how basic or complex.
I like that.
Really.
So Cody sounds pretty amazing from like a user perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm curious about like the tech behind it.
Yeah.
How does this magic actually work?
Well, under the hood, Cody is using OpenAI's really powerful language models.
Okay.
Combined with some other libraries like LangChain and Watchdog.
Okay.
But the nice thing is you don't need to be a total tech expert to use it.
Okay.
Like all that complexity is hidden
Okay.
behind a pretty simple user-friendly interface.
So you don't need a PhD in AI
You do not.
to use Cody?
Nope.
That's good because I don't have one.
Me neither.
And so like what's the setup process like?
It's actually surprisingly straightforward. Like
Okay.
the source material gives you like a clear step-by-step guide
Nope.
that walks you through everything.
Nice.
From cloning the repository to adding your OpenAI API key.
Okay, so it's pretty simple.
Yeah, it is.
And is there anything we should keep in mind during that setup process?
Yeah, there are some helpful tips in the source material. Okay.
Like they recommend that you ignore really big files,
Okay.
like virtual environments or
Yeah.
like downloaded libraries.
Right.
This helps Cody to run more efficiently.
Okay. So you want to make sure it's running smoothly.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about making the experience as easy as possible
Right.
so you can focus on what really matters,
Mm-hmm.
which is understanding and working with your code.
All right. So we've talked about how Cody works and some of its key features.
Right.
But I think what people really want to know is how can this be used in the real world?
Yeah, for sure.
Can you give us some like specific examples
Absolutely.
of how different organizations could benefit from using Cody?
Yeah. Let's start with startups.
Okay.
Imagine you're a small team. You're trying to like build a product really quickly and efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
Cody can be like a total game changer.
Okay.
It can help you to understand each other's code,
Okay.
to find solutions faster,
Hmm.
and to avoid wasting a bunch of time on things like trying to decipher poorly documented code. So instead of like spending hours trying to figure out what somebody else wrote, they can just ask Cody.
Exactly.
And Cody can tell them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Especially for startups who are trying to get to market really quickly.
Totally.
What about for larger enterprises?
Yeah. On the other end of the spectrum, you have these big companies that have these massive legacy code bases that have been built up over years or even decades.
Okay.
And navigating those code bases can be like a total nightmare.
Right.
But Cody can provide a way to quickly understand and search through even the most complex and like convoluted code.
So it can help those large organizations to kind of make sense of their legacy code.
Right.
And maybe even modernize it more efficiently.
Exactly.
Which could save them a lot of money in the long run.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And what about just for like individual developers?
Yeah, individual developers can benefit from this a lot too.
Okay.
Cody can be a huge productivity booster.
Yep.
It can help them find answers quickly, to understand unfamiliar code.
Right.
And even to learn new concepts along the way.
So it's like having a personal coding mentor.
Yeah.
Available 24/7.
That's a good way to put it.
That's pretty impressive. So it can benefit everyone from solo developers to large teams.
Yeah.
Working on complex projects.
I think so.
Okay. So this is just the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Tools like Cody are just the tip of the iceberg.
I think so.
When it comes to the potential of AI in the world of coding.
Yeah.
So what are some of the like bigger implications here?
Well, I think one thing that's really clear is that AI is going to fundamentally change how we write and interact with code.
Okay.
Like we're moving towards a future where coding becomes way more intuitive and accessible to everyone.
Okay.
Not just people who have years of specialized training.
So you're saying like instead of having to master all this complex syntax, you could potentially just build a website or an app by just like describing what you want to do in plain English.
Exactly. And AI could help us to write code that's like way more efficient and secure and reliable.
Okay.
And it could even help us to automate a lot of those tedious and repetitive tasks
Right.
that developers currently have to deal with.
So it could free up developers to focus on more like the creative, interesting aspects of software development.
Right.
And also just make coding more accessible to a wider range of people.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, it's a pretty exciting prospect.
It is. So the creator of Cody actually suggests using like a split screen setup.
I read that too, yeah.
So imagine like having Cody running alongside your code editor.
Yeah.
Answering questions and offering insights in real time.
Yeah, it's like having an AI pair programmer.
Right there with you.
Yeah, that's a really cool visual.
It is. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We talked about Cody's key features, how it works under the hood, potential use cases for all kinds of organizations, and even a glimpse into the future of AI-assisted coding.
Right.
Now, before we move on, is there anything else about Cody's core functionality or potential that we should touch on?
Let me think. You know, one thing that I think is really powerful about Cody is it can bridge the gap between technical and non-technical teams.
Oh, yeah.
So think about like a marketing team that needs to understand how a website's tracking code is set up.
Right. And trying to explain code to somebody who doesn't like live in that world can be really challenging.
It's like a whole different language.
Right.
But with Cody, they could just ask like, show me how the website tracks user behavior. And get a clear explanation that they can actually understand.
So it's like having an instant translator for code.
Kind of. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So it makes it accessible to anyone regardless of their background.
Right.
That's so cool. So Cody can definitely help us to understand existing code. But what about writing new code?
Yeah.
Does it have any capabilities in that area?
That's where things get even more interesting. So we're seeing this whole new wave of AI tools that can actually help you write code.
Oh, wow.
Not just understand it.
So like AI that can generate code for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me more about that.
So imagine this. You're working on a new feature. You need to write a function to like validate some user input.
Okay.
Instead of starting from scratch, you could just describe what you want that function to do to an AI. And it could generate the code for you.
Hold on. That sounds almost too good to be true.
I know. It's pretty wild.
Is technology really that advanced?
It's getting there quickly.
Wow.
Like, there are tools like GitHub Copilot that can suggest lines of code as you're typing.
Right.
But the next generation of these tools are going to be way more powerful.
Okay.
They'll be able to generate like whole blocks of code.
Wow.
Or even complete functions just based on your description and the context of what you're working on.
So instead of like manually typing out every single line of code, developers could essentially have like an AI partner that does all the heavy lifting for them.
Yeah, it's like having an AI apprentice that's constantly learning from you and getting better at knowing what you need.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So does that mean that like human coders are eventually going to be replaced by AI?
That's a question that comes up a lot.
Yeah.
It's a little scary.
Right.
But I think AI is a tool.
Yeah.
It's meant to help us, not replace us.
So instead of replacing developers, AI will probably just change the nature of their work.
Yeah, exactly.
Freeing them up to focus on more complex and creative tasks.
Right. It's like with any other profession.
Okay.
Tools and technologies have always changed the way we work, but they haven't like gotten rid of the need for humans altogether.
Right. It's about adapting and figuring out how to use those tools to your advantage.
Totally.
And I think AI could potentially make coding more accessible and inclusive.
Yeah.
Like imagine a world where anyone with an idea can build it themselves, even if they don't have a computer science degree.
Right. It's about empowering anyone to create.
Exactly.
Which is really cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
So we've talked about how AI can help to write new code.
Yeah.
What about other parts of software development, like debugging or testing?
For sure.
Can AI play a role there as well?
Oh, yeah, definitely. AI is already being used to automate a lot of those tasks.
Yeah.
Like, for example, there are AI-powered testing tools that can automatically generate and run tests.
Wow.
And even analyze the results.
So you don't have to spend hours doing that manually.
Yeah, it can save a lot of time and effort.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what about other things?
We're seeing AI being used for all sorts of things like code optimization and refactoring and even predicting potential security vulnerabilities.
Wow. So AI is becoming a part of like the entire software development process.
Pretty much, yeah.
From start to finish.
It's pretty amazing.
It is. And as these tools get better and better, I imagine we'll see even more innovative ways to use AI to make software development faster, more efficient, and more accessible to everyone.
I think you're right.
It's really fascinating. It feels like we're on the cusp of a major transformation in the world of software development.
Yeah.
And AI is leading the way.
I agree. And it's not just about the tech. It's about the people using it, too.
Right. What do you mean?
Well, as AI becomes more and more integrated into our work, developers are going to need to adapt.
Okay.
Like, they need to stay ahead of the curve.
So it's not just about learning new programming languages.
Right. It's about understanding the fundamentals of AI and how to apply them.
And developing the skills to really think critically about those AI tools.
Exactly.
Understanding their limits. And using them responsibly.
Yeah. It's super important.
Okay. So we've covered a lot.
We have.
From Cody's core features to this bigger picture of how AI is impacting software development. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you want to add about the potential of AI in this space?
You know, I think one of the coolest things about AI is that it can constantly learn and improve.
Yeah.
As we feed more data into these systems, they get smarter and more capable.
So the potential is basically limitless.
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow. That's really encouraging.
It is.
It means that the tools we're talking about today are just the beginning.
Right.
Who knows what's coming next?
Exactly. That's what makes this field so exciting.
Yeah, it does.
Like, we're at the forefront of this huge technological revolution.
Right.
And it's going to be awesome to see how it all plays out.
I agree. I'm super excited to see what the future holds for AI and software development.
Me too.
It really feels like we're on the verge of something big.
Yeah, a major transformation.
Yeah. And it's not just about the tech itself, right? It's about the people who are building and using it.
Exactly. Like, we've talked a lot about these tools.
Yeah.
But it's the human element that will really determine how this all unfolds.
Okay, so we need developers who are not only good at coding, but also understand AI.
Yeah, they need to be able to work with these AI systems to guide them, to refine them, and to make sure that they're being used ethically.
So it's about creating this new generation of developers who are comfortable working alongside AI, who see it as a partner.
Yeah, not a competitor.
I like that.
Yeah.
So it's about embracing human-AI collaboration.
Exactly.
And recognizing that this combination is what's really going to lead to those breakthrough innovations.
I agree.
Awesome. So what are some practical steps
Yeah.
that developers can take today to prepare for this AI-powered future?
Well, I think the most important thing is just to start experimenting.
Okay.
Like, there are so many great AI tools and platforms out there.
Huh.
A lot of them are even open source.
Oh, cool.
So you can really get some hands-on experience and see what AI can do.
So dive in and play around and just see what you can create.
Exactly. And there's a really great online community of developers who are all doing the same thing. So you can connect with them, learn from each other, collaborate.
It's a great time to get involved.
Yeah, it is.
And beyond that, I think it's important to stay informed about what's happening in AI.
Yes, definitely.
Things are changing so fast.
All the time.
To read articles, go to conferences, listen to podcasts.
Yeah, whatever you can do to stay up to date.
And it's important to remember that this isn't just a technical journey.
Right.
It's a human one, too.
What do you mean by that?
Well, as AI becomes more integrated into our work,
Yeah.
developers are going to need to really focus on their soft skills,
Okay.
like communicate, collaboration, empathy.
Those are important.
Yeah, those are the skills that will allow us to work effectively with these AI systems
Right.
and make sure that they're being used to do good things.
Yeah, it's not just about writing code anymore. It's
Yeah.
about understanding the human impact of that code
Okay.
and making sure that it aligns with our values.
So it's about being responsible with this technology.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
I think that's a perfect note to end on. I agree.
We've covered so much today,
We have.
from the specifics of Cody to the bigger picture of how AI is transforming software development.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to say, I'm leaving this conversation feeling super inspired
You too.
and really optimistic about the future.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. So for our listeners who want to learn more about AI-assisted coding,
Yes.
be sure to check out the show notes. There's a link to Cody's GitHub repository.
It's a great resource.
You might even find your new favorite coding buddy.
You never know.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive,
It was my pleasure.
and we'll see you next time.
See ya.